Hey guys, Saf here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and I have summoned from the Shard portal the best creator, of course, that I can talk about this topic. It is HellHades. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really well, yeah. Looking forward to a bit of Hydra action.
Hydra action indeed. So I've recently done a video talking about the issues of Hydra Clash, some of the things that I really want to see them change, and things that I think are massively affecting the morale and motivation of many clans. And it is, of course, about Hydra Clash. So Hydra Clash at the moment is one of the sort of end game activities you can get to as a player. Once you've finished all the game, once you've kind of beaten all the Doom Tower, and you kind of do as much Synchronus as you can stomach, Hydra Clash is really the area where clans really want to push. And the biggest problem that I think we've got going on right now is this Trunda team is dominant. The numbers are out of control. And just the general experience people are having in terms of like trying to progress and stay motivated is very difficult. Now, I brought HellHades on here because sometimes my opinion on these things can be very narrow to my account and my experiences. And in the video that I did, we had a bit of an example where we were winning in kind of like third place, and then one person came in and literally decimated everyone. It was the most awful experience. So how do you think your Hydra Clash, for you specifically, HellHades? I know you're in, I think, OC, Sacred Pandas, I think whatever they're called now. I know they all merged. Yeah. What's your experience with it?
Well, let's just quickly look at those screenshots, I think, because before I get into my view, it's egregious, right? So you kind of got one person, Niklaus here, has come in and done what, nearly 84 billion, is that?
Yeah, it's basically 20 billion on Nightmare.
20 billion damage on Nightmare with a team that is not really built. Yeah, if you think about the way Hydra was made, this team was not made or should not work against high-level Hydra, because it's basically just straight nuke. There's not any kind of like controlling mechanics, anything like that. It's just straight, I'm nuking heads down, and then I'm continuously nuking heads down, right? That's basically what's going down. And so when he came in with his key, he did more damage than the 82 keys that went before him for the clan that he overtook. He did more damage by 25% than, even more than that actually, than the whole team added together in one key.
Yeah. And keep in mind, 61 billion for a clan is not
a lot.
It's a fair result. Like, that's not like, we're not sitting here going, oh, well, they didn't have very good teams. Those teams in a lot of those clans, like Auxiliary, for example, is the clan that Short on Skills is a member of. One of our moderators in Discord. He put up 10 billion, and he wasn't necessarily using all the crazy comps because he doesn't have the Yumikos, but he put up 10 billion. So these teams that you're seeing in these other clans, they're not trash. They're very well built min-max teams, and he just
let's give it some perspective here, because have I done my battle already? Yeah, I've done my battle on Nightmare. We're on my account here, and I feel like my Nightmare team is pretty solid, right?
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of purple triangles. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say.
Like, it's literally like my Void Legendary team. It does somewhere between 250 and about 450 million damage on Nightmare, and I do it full auto. I just let it run. If it's on the low end, sometimes I would redo a key, but not often. And I'm not super invested in Hydra Clash in the way that some people are. Like you. Like, I know you and your clan are like properly, try hard. I am in a clan that's kind of try hard. We're like the second tier of the pandas, and we often get top 3. But you can see here already in this setup, we've had 29 keys, and we're behind people that have done 6 keys. Probably because
the Togron abuse at the moment. Yeah.
It's one or
Togron
two
is getting fixed.
Players.
Hopefully, Togron is already fixed by this video coming out. That's the good news.
Yeah, but so for me, there's a couple of things which I don't like. Firstly, if we've got a free-to-play experience, even if our clan are winning on a free-to-play, and we did this, by the way, during this free-to-play this year, we're nowhere near the minimum requirement to get the chests, which I think is just silly. If you win and you're in a lower tier, then there should be something for winning. That's one thing. But the second thing is, I mean, it's just got out of control. Like, the Hydra fights are not being run in a way that they should be run, which and I know that Raid don't want to nerf champions like Trunda, and I appreciate there's probably loads of people watching now that don't want Trunda to be nerfed. I get it, but do you think this is the right answer? That unless you build that exact team, like I don't have Yumiko's, so, and does that mean that I just like, well, get good?
You can still build it though. That's the thing. This is where it's now. It used to be, well, you need double Yumiko. That team exactly there that you see in Sarcastic today. It used to be that you need the double Yumiko. I can run a Trunda team in hard, and it can do 1.5 billion. And I'm using Emic Painkeeper. Because of the way that Merciless and Reflex works, I can put Merciless, Reflex, Cycle of Magic on both of them, and I can cycle it as many times as I want to without needing the Yumikos. So it's not even that hard to build anymore because of the sort of relative accessibility of a good 4-piece Merciless. You can get that if you're doing a little bit of hard mode Cintranos, or even normal mode Cintranos, you can get some of that. You can build this team without the Void Legos. I do have Shujen in my team. I should add that for context, but that could be replaced with an Arbiter. You don't necessarily need to. It just means that I can run my Trunda a bit slower. So it's kind of like their argument of defense is, oh, it's very hard to build. Well, the 6-star Crushing Rend Nightmare teams are. You need Crushing Rend for Trunda. But once you have like the right champions in the right builds, it's not that difficult to easily beat your key.
And like, how crazy are the builds? Like, so if we look at this team here from, depends what he's running. Actually, he's running out on normal, so that's probably quite easy to build.
Mm-hmm.
But if you
think about it, 2.4 billion there is still providing more Hydra Clash points than your Nightmare team.
Yeah.
So normal is just as good. It may be, if you can get the team running on Nightmare, then it's even better. But you could easily run that team on normal, and it will outperform. I think the current world record for the best non-Trunda Nightmare team in Hydra is 3.6 billion with Garol Taras, and it is ultra min-max Kraken gear. And I can probably hit 3.6 billion with my I call it a scuffed build, because I literally picked 4 random Merciless pieces with Reflex, made them as fast as I could. There's no damage on Painkeeper, Emic. I put Gerptuk in there. He's not even... Cut that bit out. I forgot to put D&D. I put Gerptuk in there. Yeah. He's not even like in any sets. I've put... I think Shujen is just in my arena build, and I put Trunda in some random gear with Ignore Defense, and I just can outperform your min-max ultra world record. And that's, for me, the fundamental flaw. And
so with your team then, because I've not built this team before, are the heads just dead all the time?
Yeah. I can kill a head from 100% HP with the 75% Serpent's Will on by just A2 in a decapitated head.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Including
so what's your solution for this? They've said outright they don't want to nerf Trunda. And by the way, they've also said it wouldn't be a nerf. She's just broken. She should have been fixed years ago. I actually did. The reason why she didn't get fixed is me, because I did a video saying Trunda should be nerfed, and they saw the backlash from that video, and basically said, "Oh crap, let's." And they literally had it coded to be fixed, and they didn't fix it because of the backlash that was coming out. So my bad. But
we know who to blame now for all our pain and suffering.
But what do you think? Like, how do they fix this without actually fixing the champion that's broken? Because I guess it's not just Trunda teams, right? There are other teams that I see popping up.
Yeah, they're Togron at the moment.
Togron's different because they've said it's a bug. But I've seen other teams with like, oh Christ, who's the guy who does all the AoEs?
Garol is the Garol.
Yeah, but I've seen like the weaker version of it.
The weaker version? Ooh, I don't know.
But not to that. Anyway, not to these kind of like
never to the
levels.
same extent. Yeah, exactly. So if you're not going to target champion fixes, which I get it. If you nerf Trunda, what is Trunda good for? I get the argument. I think it's a bit short-sighted. You can absolutely make Trunda useful for something. Maybe you just buff her so she's relevant in arena again. If you're not going to nerf Trunda, I think the biggest flaw is Hydra has become a target dummy. It's no longer a mechanic that you have to learn. Even to the ultra endgame clan boss, you still need to speed tune and have all the right things to make your clan boss team work, right? You can't just throw any 5 high damage dealers into clan boss and expect to get 1k. I mean, I suppose you can now with the stat bloat to get to 72 million, because obviously the defense of clan boss is much lower. But we actually need to return back to some sensible concepts, knowing that top chest nightmare is 36 million. why are we doing 1 billion damage when the top reward is 36 million? So I would actually target the mechanics of Hydra. And in my video, I kind of went over this in more detail. I think the Serpent's Will is the best way to do this. The biggest success that Trunda has is constantly killing the heads. If you constantly defeat the heads, you don't have to worry about the mechanics. You don't have to worry about the consumption.
While Serpent Will is up.
Yes, stop that, basically. Make it so that you can't damage a head when Serpent's Will is up, but also then give some sort of benefits back to the player to try and reduce RNG, because we all know, we've all been there when we're like an hour, like sort of 45 minutes into a run, and of course, the Wrath Head pops out, he gets poison clouded and you get one shot, or the cleanse happens because you got 3%ed, or something got stolen.
Yeah.
Try to mitigate a little bit of that.
If you're just, so to that point then, if you can control the heads still with any sort of control mechanics that are available, but you can't kill the head when Serpent Will is up, you know, you could almost give Hydra, I don't know if this helps or not, honestly, but you could give Hydra like almost like a Leoria's type passive while Serpent's Will is out there, that a head can't die whilst that's available. I guess you just kill it straight after though, don't you?
You would just kill it straight after. I would just make it so that Serpent's Will is minus 100% incoming damage for the one turn it's active, to force the Hydra head to be able to take a turn, but also make it so that when that buff is on, that head can't receive any buffs from its ally heads. So it kind of like, once you go through a cycle of killing a head and then it respawns, you, the player, have a whole turn of that Serpent's Will to be able to reapply block buffs, re-provoke it, you know, whatever you need to do, put decreased attack on it to help you. Because there's no way that a player can actually stop that interaction of the Wrath Head pops out just as the Poison Cloud Head is about to take a turn, for example, or the Wrath Head pops out just as the Cleanse Head, the one that will remove all debuffs, takes a turn. That's an interaction that you can't even strategically solve. So, and that's a lot of the day one complaints from Hydra was the RNG. So I think you can kind of solve both problems. It doesn't make the Trunda team pointless. It will just stop this normal and hard teams, and also make it on Nightmare a lot less damage. And it may even like completely bring it right back down to the same level as other teams.
I mean, what do you think about there being a point cap on normal, hard? You know, so let's say you hit, I don't know, 400,000 points, for example. And it's like, actually, you've capped what you could earn from normal. So instead of people going down the levels and kind of being able to run that team, I mean, you still have this kind of like insanity on Nightmare, which, you know, the real big teams like you've experienced are getting. But yeah, I think that's probably more the one-off, right? Is this more the one-off, this screenshot you've got here, with someone coming in and doing that sort of level of Nightmare damage, or is it becoming more and more common?
Normally it's a couple of billion. Normally it's like 5 to 6 billion. That can happen quite regularly because they're doing normal or hard. That's the first extreme case example where it's gone from like, they were literally on 25 or what was it, 20 billion. They were last. They were
down in last
last
place.
And one person came in and just like instantly changed the leaderboard. And I will add, I'm not trying to be negative towards Niklaus or either.
No. He's using the mechanics that are available to him. Fair play.
Exactly. Yeah. This is a player issue to solve. I think if you put caps, the only problem is then you're just playing to the cap target then, rather than it still doesn't really solve the problem.
Kind of push people away from, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Because you just save time, because they're still going to run the same team, because you can get to the point cap quicker, right? So,
but what if you did two things though? Say you capped points on. I don't know if it works either. But if you capped points on, you know, all of the kind of levels leading up to Nightmare, but also allowed people to use all three keys in Nightmare. Don't know, because then you've got. Kind of want the chest spread out. It's hard. It's
hard. I think the first thing that actually they should do, like tomorrow, this is so easy, is actually give rewards for 4th and 5th. So that you don't have this horrible feeling. Like literally I'm sitting here and I've got 82 keys consumed. I lead Sons of Science 6 as part of a cluster management, and I have to try and motivate people to make it feel like Hydra was worth it. Well, they literally just spent a good part, if you think of everyone's 82 keys, if you average that, 82 hours across all of our players, maybe they did an hour per key, to get nothing.
Do most of these type of teams, are these still manual teams, or are these now gone to the point where they're full auto?
I think some of them can be full auto. A lot of the time, people who are running this, they manual it. So they'll do an hour and a half to get because obviously, I mean, especially if you go to the really top Giga clans now, they're basically 3 times this team every single slot, every single one. So it's very silly. I've seen some of Panda's actual the top clans one, and they're like in the trillions, which is probably why they've changed the numbers now from 105. What is it? That's like 1 trillion damage, right? It's very difficult to read. They changed it in game. But yeah, I think that's the easiest thing they can do straight out of the bag, though, is just give rewards for 4th and 5th. So even if it does happen to you, you still feel like you walk away with something, and it doesn't have to be like a full primal shard and like 6-star gear. But the key thing that is going to happen over the next 3 months is more and more 4-turn Stone Skin, 4-turn Savage builds. That's going to be the meta if our mans remains the same. And the only place you can get those accessories for Stone Skin is Hydra Clash. It's only going to make it worse because players are going to feel like the only way I can compete in Arena is to get Stone Skin accessories. I can't get Stone Skin accessories because I can't do this in Arena because I don't have Trunda. And that is going to be, I suppose that is where I'm at in terms of, it's not that I'm asking for it. I'm asking to keep the communities alive, to keep the clusters alive, because this is killing player motivation.
Yeah, I do remember when Hydra Clash was first announced, and I was like, yes, finally we got something where, you know, it's like a weekly competition. There's a reason to do PvE
for a clan,
and for a clan, and there's kind of like a bit more clan interaction. And I still stand by that. I think the whole idea around Hydra Clash is a right one.
Yes,
but the trouble is when you've got champions which just kind of like break the mold of a game type, which is what's happening here. Whatever you think of Trunda right now, everyone, Trunda is broken. And she's breaking this game type. You know, you've got people that are putting in some pretty nutty numbers as well. But if you look at this team below it, double nukes. This feels to me like it's basically a normal team. It's hard to achieve. Don't get me wrong. Like this is top tier champions, but it's basically a normal team, and you know someone's working hard on some good levels of damage for this team.
Yeah, my ultra min max nightmare team at the moment with full gear ascension on many different champions, really pushing the boundaries. I've got a 5-star Alatria and a 4-star Mikage. That can do about, the record I've got it to so far is 450 million on nightmare. One Trunda A2 on nightmare probably does my entire 1.5 hours team in 1 or 2 A2s.
I might actually, so I don't have Unicodes. I might try and build my best version of this team and just see how silly it is on normal. Like I've never tried to build one because I always just figured
your Trunda's quite big, right?
Well, I got a +2. I don't even know what I've got in terms of blessing. I don't think I've got a great blessing. So look, I've not used her in so long. I've got a 3-star. So
3 stars. Okay, so if you get a 4-star, that's a big breakpoint.
Yeah, it's a big change. Yeah,
but yeah, 3-star. That's great. Mine's only a 1-star, and I can do it.
And I could +2 her. So
you could +2, which is 20% attack's probably not. It's the +4 with it's
plus,
to be honest,
plus
more than
4
it's a 6-star. It's 6-star that matters because you get crushing rend, and also area bonuses. Like if you've got 20% area bonuses in Hydra, you can really get to a point where that A2 can actually do true damage, which is where it goes nuts. Because if you hit the true damage proc, well, now you're doing 60% of a true damage hit. That's insane. That's where it gets really crazy. And if you really want to push it, you can put her in 9 out of 9 Slayer and get double procs on the second AoE, which is even more absurd. Like that's in a perfect attack ring, for example. If it rolls the attack percentage, you can, if you wanted to, go 6 out of 6 Slayer. You still you lose kind of like the single target defense. It's something I would lean more towards with a 6-star. But if you actually get good rates of the Slayer proc, you can repeat the second 60% attack, which is in the millions. Like my second attack does 32 million per head. So if you repeat 32 million twice, that's probably more valuable than the single AoE ignoring defense.
Sure.
So
crazy.
But yeah, I mean, we've been talking a bit now, so let's wrap it up. I just wanted to get another person's thoughts on this, because this is worse to me than Cadaver Clash at this point. Like these numbers that we're seeing are crazy, because you're getting empowerment, you're getting all these other things, right? So whereas the Cadaver, you can't really make Cadaver do more damage other than the shield you're growing. Obviously, the Brogni is very important for this, but we're getting to the point now where this is equally as painful, if not worse, than the Cadaver. Because at least with Cadaver Clash, all you need to do is Brogni.
With Cadaver, we always said we think it's going to be nerfed, right? So, maybe 50% of people started to build teams. Over time, more people built the teams, and then it got to a worse situation. With Trunda, I think the situation here is they're openly saying, we don't want to nerf this, which means that people are just building this team. It's like, well, you've got there's no kind of like apprehension to building the team. And I think that's
how long
part
before
of the
everyone
problem.
builds
like,
it?
'cause she should be nerfed. Like, she should be fixed.
Yes.
Fixed.
It should be, it should be just, it's kind of like what happens in 6 months' time when the only team that anyone ever runs in Hydra is Trunda.
Yeah,
like what
at a
happens
high level.
then?
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like for
Even
the
like
average
at
player,
a medium level, because a lot of people have Trunda. She's a long-term champion. So if anyone who's been playing for 3 years, there's a reasonable chance you have a Trunda. So as long as you've got the Emic with the Trunda and a Painkeeper, or even 2 Painkeepers, you can run the team because of the power of Merciless and Reflex, the way that they kind of work in synchronicity. I don't want them to nerf Merciless and Reflex. I should say that, because that only punishes the people who don't have Yumiko. I don't really want them to do that. That's not what I'm asking for, because I think that set is fine. It just simply means you can run it.
Just last quick point. What's your view on nerfing Yumiko, resetting Yumiko?
That should happen. She's the only champion in the game that has more than 2 turns that isn't locked out, because they're even releasing things like Finer. Recent champion, you can't reset her reset ability. Crixia, you can't reset her reset ability. So it's kind of like, well, you're releasing mythicals and new champions with the concept that you can't reset them. So therefore, that tells me the principle should be you can't reset more than 2.
Wrong. You know it shouldn't happen. Yeah,
exactly. So that is a big thing as well. I don't think just solving the Yumiko fixes the Trunda. It would absolutely kill the team quite significantly, but it still means that you can run it probably with like a Nia or a Yumiko Nia kind of thing, maybe. But I think they need to target more than just the one thing at this point. That Yumiko shouldn't be able to reset her ability. It's just silly, because then you end up in an infinite loop. It's just reset into reset into reset into reset, and that's how it works. You just Trunda never does anything other than A2. When you have a Hydra team that runs for an hour and a half and the Shuzhen or the Arbiter does 0 damage, you've got a bit of a problem.
Yes, indeed.
It's indeed.
Oh well.
Anyway,
let's hope they fix it. Yeah, let's hope they fix it.
Thanks so much for joining me on this video, and for also recording this for me, because I'm not a professional content creator here. I always break these things. So collaborations for me are really fun to do. Really welcoming your opinions, and let me know in the comments below, guys. What is your current thoughts? I know a lot of people are sensitive about nerfs. Do you have any other ideas than what we've mentioned here that could solve the problem? I am constantly in communication with a lot of moderators and a lot of different people that I can, and obviously HellHades is in the creator chat. We will feed back any good suggestions that we think can absolutely work for the player to try and get this game mode back to some level of sanity, back to level of numbers that most people will feel motivated to try and push and build teams for. Thanks, HellHades. Any parting words?
Only please, Plarium, let's sap in the Content Creator Club.
Give me that server. Brilliant. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.